Chapter 6. There are rumors of an offensive. We go up to the front 2 days earlier than usual. On the way, we pass a shelled schoolhouse. Stacked up against its longer side is a double wall of yellow, unpolished, brand new coffins. They smell of resin and pine and the forest. There are at least 100. That's a good preparation for the offensive, says Muller, astonished. They're for us, growls Dietering. Don't talk rot, Kat says to him angrily. You'd be thankful if you get so much as a coffin, grins Tieton. They'll slip you a waterproof sheet for your old Aunt Sally of a carcass. The others jest too, unpleasant jests, but what else can a man do? The coffins are really for us. The organization surpasses itself in that kind of thing. Ahead of us, everything is shimmering. The first night we try to get our bearings. When it is fairly quiet, we can hear the transports behind the enemy lines rolling ceaselessly until dawn. Ket says that they do not go back, but they are bringing troops up, troops, munitions, and guns. The English artillery has been strengthened that we can detect at once. There are at least 4 more batteries of 9-inch guns to the right of the farm, and behind the poplars they have put in trench mortars. Besides these, they have brought up a number of those little French beasts with instantaneous fuses. We are now in low spirits. After we have been in the dugouts for 2 hours, our own shells begin to fall in the trench. This is the 3rd time in 4 weeks. If it were simply a mistaken aim, no one would say anything, but the truth is that the barrels are worn out. The shots are so often so uncertain that they land within our own lines. Tonight, 2 of our men were wounded by them. The front is a cage in which we must await fearfully whatever may happen. We lie under the network of arching shells and live in a suspense of uncertainty. Over us, chance hovers. If a shot comes, we can duck, that is all. We neither know nor can determine where it will fall. It is this chance that makes us indifferent. A few months ago, I was sitting in a dugout playing scat. After a while, I stood up and went to visit some friends in another dugout. On my return, nothing more was to be seen of the first one. It had been blown to pieces by a direct hit. I went back to the second and arrived just in time to lend a hand digging it out. In the interval, it had been buried. It is just a matter of chance that I am still alive, as that I might have been hit. In a bomb-proof dugout, I may be smashed to atoms, and in the open, I may survive 10 hours of bombardment unscathed. No soldier outlives 1,000 chances, but every soldier believes in chance and trusts his luck. We must look out for our bread. The rats have become much more numerous lately because the trenches are no longer in good condition. Dietering says it is a sure sign of a coming bombardment. The rats here are particularly repulsive. They are so fat, the kind we call corpse rats. They have shocking, evil, naked faces, and it is nauseating to see their long, nude tails. They seem to be mighty hungry. Almost every man has his bread gnawed. Kropp wraps his in waterproof sheet and puts it under his head, but he cannot sleep because they run over his face to get at it. Dietering meant to outwit them. He fastened a thin wire to the roof and suspended his bread from it. During the night, when he switched his pocket torch, he saw the wire swing to and fro. On the bread was riding a fat rat. At last we put a stop to it. We cannot afford to throw bread away because then we should have nothing left to eat in the morning. So we carefully cut off the bits of bread that the animals have gnawed. The slices we cut off are heaped together in the middle of the floor. Each man takes out his spade and lies down prepared to strike. Dietering, Kropp, and Kat hold their pocket torches ready. After a few minutes, we hear the first shuffling and tugging. It grows now. It grows. Now it is the sound of many little feet. Then the torches switch on and every man strikes at the heap, which scatters with a rush. The result is good. We toss the bits of rat over the parapet and then again lie in wait. Several times we repeat the process. At least the beasts get wise to it, or perhaps they have scented the blood. They return no more. Nevertheless, before the morning, the remainder of the bread on the floor has been carried off. The adjoining sector, they attacked 2 large cats and a dog, bit them to death, and devoured them. The next day, there is an issue of Adamer cheese. Each man gets almost a quarter of a cheese. In one way, that is all to the good, for Adamer is tasty, but in another, it is vile because the fat red balls have long been a sign of a bad time coming. Our foreboding increase as the rum is served out. We drink it, of course, but are not greatly comforted. During the day, we loaf about and make war on the rats. Ammunition and hand grenades become more plentiful. We overhaul the bayonets, that is to say, the ones that have a saw on the blunt edge. If a fellow over there catch a man with one of those, he's killed at sight. In the next sector, some of our men were found whose noses were cut off and their eyes poked out with their own saw bayonets. Their mouths and noses were stuffed with sawdust so that they suffocated. Some of the recruits have bayonets of this sort. We take them away and give them the ordinary kind. But the bayonet has practically lost its importance. It is usually the fashion now to charge with bombs and spades only. The sharpened spade is a more handy and many-sided weapon. Not only can it be used for jabbing a man under the chin, but is much better for striking because of its greater weight. And if one hits between the neck and shoulder, it easily cleaves as far down as the chest. The bayonet frequently jams on the thrust, and a man has to kick hard on the other fellow's belly to pull it out again. And in the interval, he may easily get one himself. And what's more, the blade often gets broken off. At night, they send over gas. We expect the attack to follow and lie with our face masks on, ready to tear them off as soon as the first shadow appears. Dawn approaches without anything happening. Only the everlasting, nerve-wracking roll behind the enemy lines, trains, lorries. But what are they concentrating? Our artillery fires on it continually, but still it does not cease. We have tired faces and avoid each other's eyes. It will be like the Psalms, said Cat gloomily. There we were shelled steadily for 7 days and nights. Cat has lost all his fun since we have been here, which is bad, for Cat is an old front hog and can smell what is coming. Only Tiaden seems pleased with the good luck, with good rations and the rum. He thinks we might even go back to rest without anything happening at all. It almost looks like it. Day after day passes. At night, I squat in the listening post. Above me, the rockets and parachute lights shoot up and float down again. I'm cautious and tense. My heart thumps. My eyes turn again and again to the luminous dial of my watch. The hands will not budge. Sleep hangs on my eyelids. I work my toes in my boots in order to keep awake. Nothing happens till I am relieved. Only everlasting rolling over there. Gradually, we grow calmer and play scat and poker continually. Perhaps we will be lucky. All day, the sky is hung with observation balloons. There was a rumor that the enemy are going to put tanks over and use low-flying planes for the attack. But that interests us less than what we hear of the new flamethrowers. We wake up in the middle of the night. The earth booms. Heavy fire is falling on us. We crouch into corners. We distinguish shells of every caliber. Each man lays hold of his things and looks again every minute to reassure himself that they are still there. The dugout heaves. The night roars and flashes. We look at each other in the momentary flashes of light, and with pale faces and pressed lips shake our heads. Every man is aware of the heavy shells tearing down the parapet, rooting up the embankment, and demolishing the upper layers of concrete. When a shell lands in the trench, we note how the hollow, furious blast is like a blow from the paw of a raging beast of prey. Already by morning, a few of the recruits are green and vomiting. They are too inexperienced. Slowly, the gray light trickles into the post and pales the flashes of the shells. Morning has come. The explosion of mines mingles with the gunfire. That is the most dementing convulsion of all. The whole region where they go up becomes one grave. The reliefs go out, the observers stagger in, covered with dirt and trembling. One lies down in silence in a corner and eats. The other, an older man of a new draft, sobs. Twice he has been flung over the parapet by the blast of the explosions without getting any more than shell shock. The recruits are eyeing him. We must watch them. These things are catching. Already some lips begin to quiver. It is good that it is growing daylight. Perhaps the attack will come before noon. The bombardment does not diminish. It is falling in the rear too. As far as one can see, spout fountains of mud and iron. A wide belt is being raked. The attack does not come, but the bombardment continues. We are gradually benumbed. Hardly a man speaks. We cannot make ourselves understood. Our trench is almost gone. At many places it is only 18 inches high. It is broken by holes and craters and mountains of earth. A shell lands square in front of our post. At once it is dark. We are buried and must dig ourselves out. After an hour, the entrance is clear again, and we are calmer because we have had something to do. Our company commander scrambles in and reports that 2 dugouts are gone. The recruits calm themselves when they see him. He says that an attempt will be made to bring up food this evening. That sounds reassuring. No one had thought of it except Tiaden. Now the outside world seems to draw a little nearer. If food can be brought up, think the recruits, then it can't really be so bad. We do not disabuse them. We know that food is as important as ammunition, and only for that reason must be brought up. But it miscarries. A second party goes out, and it also turns back. Finally, Cat tries, and even he reappears without accomplishing anything. No one gets through, not even a fly is small enough to get through such a barrage. We pull in our belts tighter and chew every mouthful 3 times as long. Still, the food does not last out. We are damnably hungry. I take out a scrap of bread, eat the white, and put the crust back in my knapsack. From time to time, I nibble at it. The night is unbearable. We cannot sleep, but stare ahead of us and doze. Tayden regrets that we wasted the gnawed pieces of bread on the rats. We would have gladly we would gladly have them again to eat now. We are short of water too, but not seriously yet. Towards morning, while it is still dark, there is some excitement.